low-lying coastal communities along the Florida Gulf Coast. You have the surge and you have the heavy rain. So it's a double whammy for those areas. So we are going to be taking on some heavy water, some high water over the next few hours. And then by tomorrow morning, we'll start to see the storm surge on the East Coast from Cape Canaveral, the Space Coast, all the way up to Jacksonville, and even the far southern tip of the East Coast of Georgia, just south of Savannah, could potentially see a 3 to 5 foot surge tomorrow morning. And Hurricane Milton, still a Category 3 hurricane. We'll get an update at about 10 o'clock on its potential strength. Has winds of 115 miles per hour. We are expecting the storm to weaken to potentially a Category 1 hurricane once it reaches Central Florida. But at this point, still a major hurricane impacting the state of Florida right now, Lindsay.
You know, there's so much, I was thinking, Elisa, that we can see with regard to the rain and the wind and the flooding and the storm surge, power outages even potentially. But let's talk about the impact that the ground saturation, because there's already been so much water from Helene, and just in recent days, how does that ultimately impact the residents in Central Florida there?
Well, the ground, since it's so saturated, it's going to act like concrete. Rain is going to fall and then pool and move. It's not going to be able to sink into the ground and be able to hold as much water as we did with dry soil. So that increases the flash flood risk. That's why the flash flood risk extends across the state. This heavy rain is going to fall, and then it's going to lead to potentially urban flooding, low-lying flooding as well. A lot of municipalities today, we've heard Eva Pilgrim reporting in Orlando that they've lowered area lakes to try to hold water to prevent flooding, but it is so difficult to prevent flooding in this situation, as you mentioned, Lindsay, that with the heavy rain, any rain that falls now in its torrential state, because this is a tropical system that can produce some very high and heavy rainfall rates, all of that water is likely going to be run off first, and that's why the flash flooding threat could go really from 0 to 60 within a matter of minutes to potentially an hour. So it's a really serious situation.